Hello everyone and welcome to Peaceful English. I'm so glad you're here today. Whether you're studying English, relaxing after a long day, taking a walk, or simply looking for a calm moment to improve your listening skills, thank you for joining me. Take a slow, deep breath. Relax your mind. There is no pressure here, no tests, no grades, no need to be perfect. Just listen, learn, and enjoy the journey. Today, I want to ask you a question. How long have you been learning English? Maybe 1 year, maybe 5 years, maybe even 10 years. Now let me ask you another question. Do you still feel nervous when you speak English? If your answer is yes, you're not alone. Millions of English learners around the world feel exactly the same. They know grammar, they know vocabulary, they understand English when they read. Sometimes they even understand English when they listen. But when it's time to speak, their mind suddenly becomes quiet. The words disappear, confidence disappears, and fear takes over. Many people believe this means they are not talented enough. But what if that isn't true? What if the problem isn't your English? What if the real problem is the way you've been practicing? Imagine trying to learn how to swim by only reading books about swimming. You could study every swimming technique. You could memorize every rule. But until you enter the water, you will never become a swimmer. Speaking English works the same way. You don't become fluent only by studying English. You become fluent by using English. Today, we're going to explore why so many learners struggle with fluency and how changing a few simple habits can completely transform the way you learn. Let's begin. One of the biggest myths about learning English is this: I need to know thousands of words before I can speak fluently. Because of this belief, many learners spend years memorizing vocabulary. Every day they learn new words, more lists, more flashcards. Yet when someone asks them a simple question like, "How was your day?" they suddenly don't know what to say. Why? Because fluency is not about knowing every word. It is about using the words you already know. Think about children. A young child does not know thousands of words. Their vocabulary is actually quite small. Yet they communicate every day. They ask questions. They tell stories. They express their feelings. They do not wait until their vocabulary is perfect. They simply use what they have. Imagine having a toolbox. Inside are only a few tools: a hammer, a screwdriver, a wrench. A skilled builder can create many things with those simple tools. Another person may own 100 expensive tools, but never use them. Which person is more capable? The one who practices. English is the same. It is better to use 100 words confidently than to memorize 5,000 words you never speak. Remember this: vocabulary gives you possibilities. Practice gives you fluency. Have you ever experienced something like this? Someone asks you a question in English. First, you hear the question. Then you translate it into your native language. Next, you think of your answer. Then you translate your answer back into English. Finally, you speak. By that time, the conversation has already moved on. This happens because your brain is doing too much work. Translation is useful when you begin learning a language. But if you want to become fluent, There comes a time when you need to start thinking directly in English. At first, this feels difficult, but don't worry. You don't need complicated sentences. Start with simple thoughts. When you wake up in the morning, quietly tell yourself, I'm getting out of bed. I'm making coffee. It's a beautiful morning. I'm feeling a little tired today. These are simple sentences, but they teach your brain something very important. They teach your brain to connect ideas directly with English, instead of translating everything. Think about driving a car. When you first learned to drive, you had to think about every movement, the steering wheel, the mirrors, the pedals. Everything required your attention. But today, if you've been driving for years, many of those actions happen naturally. Speaking English becomes the same way. The less you translate, the more naturally English begins to flow. One of the biggest reasons people never become fluent is not grammar. It is fear. The fear of making mistakes. Many learners stay silent because they want every sentence to be perfect. They think, if I make a mistake, people will laugh at me. If my pronunciation isn't perfect, I shouldn't speak. But here's something important to remember. Every fluent English speaker has made thousands of mistakes. Think about how children learn their first language. Do they speak perfectly from the beginning? Of course not. They pronounce words incorrectly. They mix up grammar. Sometimes they invent words that don't even exist. And what do? They keep speaking. Little by little, they improve. Imagine learning to ride a bicycle. The first time you try, you might lose your balance. You might even fall. But no one expects you to ride perfectly on your first day. Speaking English is no different. Every mistake teaches your brain something new. Every conversation makes you stronger. Mistakes are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that you are learning. The people who improve the fastest are not the ones who never make mistakes. They are the ones who are not afraid to make them. So the next time you make a mistake in English, smile. Correct yourself if you can, and keep going, because every mistake is one step closer to fluency. Many learners believe they need long study sessions to improve. They study for 4 or 5 hours on one weekend. Then they become busy, and they don't study again for another week. This pattern feels productive, but it often slows progress. Learning a language is much like growing a plant. Imagine watering a plant once every 2 weeks with a huge bucket of water. Then imagine another person watering their plant with a small amount every single day. Which plant is more likely to grow? The answer is obvious. Language learning works the same way. Your brain learns best through regular exposure. 15 or 20 minutes every day is often more powerful than studying for hours, only once in a while. Those daily moments teach your brain that English is part of your life, not just something you study occasionally. This is one of the reasons slow English podcasts can be so effective. You don't have to understand every single word. You simply need to listen consistently. Little by little, your ears become familiar with the sounds. Your vocabulary grows naturally. Your confidence increases, and one day, something wonderful happens. You realize that you understand more than you did a few months ago. Not because you studied harder, but because you showed up again and again. Fluency is not built in one extraordinary day. It is built in ordinary days. One conversation, one sentence, one listening session at a time. And that is exactly how every fluent English speaker began their journey. In the first part, we discovered that fluency is not about knowing every grammar rule or memorizing thousands of words. It is about building the right habits. Now you may be wondering, that's great, but what should I actually do every day? The good news is that becoming fluent doesn't require expensive courses or studying for many hours. You don't need to be a genius. You don't even need to speak perfectly. What you need is a simple training routine that you can repeat every day. Think of learning English like going to the gym. You don't become stronger after one workout. You become stronger because you keep showing up, day after day, little by little. English fluency works exactly the same way. So, let's look at a powerful daily training that can help you become a more confident English speaker. Imagine trying to play a beautiful song on the piano without ever listening to music. It would be incredibly difficult. Before musicians perform, they spend countless hours listening. Before children speak their first words, they spend many months listening to the people around them. Listening always comes before speaking. The same is true when learning English. Many learners spend most of their time studying grammar books, but they spend very little time actually listening to real English. As a result, English feels unfamiliar when they hear it. Your brain needs time to recognize the rhythm of the language, the pronunciation, the natural expressions, the pauses, the intonation. That is why listening is so important. And this is exactly why slow English podcasts are powerful. When English is spoken slowly and clearly, your brain has enough time to understand each sentence. You begin noticing patterns naturally. You don't have to memorize every grammar rule. Your brain starts learning by exposure. So, don't worry if you don't understand everything. Focus on understanding the main idea. Every time you listen, your ears become a little stronger. And every listening session prepares you to speak more naturally. Now let's move to the second step. Don't just listen, repeat. One of the most effective techniques for improving fluency is called shadowing. Shadowing simply means listening to a sentence and repeating it aloud as closely as possible. Not just the words, but also the rhythm, the pronunciation, the emotion. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. Your reflection copies every movement you make. Shadowing works the same way. You become the reflection of the speaker. At first, it may feel strange. You may speak slowly. You may pause often. That is completely normal. The goal isn't speed. The goal is to train your mouth, your ears, and your brain to work together. Even repeating 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference over time. The more your mouth becomes familiar with English sounds, the more natural speaking begins to feel. Remember, fluent speakers don't only know English, they have practiced producing English thousands of times. Practice makes speaking easier, not perfection. Many learners say, "I don't have anyone to practice English with." If that sounds familiar, here's something important. You already have someone to practice with: yourself. Talking to yourself in English may feel a little unusual at first, but it is one of the most effective ways to build confidence. Why? Because there is no pressure. No one is judging you. No one is waiting for your answer. You can take your time. Imagine you're making breakfast. Describe what you're doing. I'm making coffee. Now I'm cutting some fruit. The weather looks nice today. Later, while you're walking outside, you might say, there are many people in the park. The sky is very blue today. I'm enjoying this peaceful walk. These simple sentences train your brain to think in English. And that's the key. You don't need long conversations every day. You simply need regular conversations, even if those conversations are with yourself. The more often you think in English, the less you'll need to translate, and when that happens, speaking becomes much more natural. Imagine someone gives you a box filled with individual puzzle pieces. You have all the pieces, but you've never seen the finished picture. Building the puzzle will take a long time. Learning single vocabulary words can feel the same. You know many words, but you don't know how they naturally fit together. This is why learning phrases is much more powerful. Instead of memorizing only the word depend, learn the complete expression. It depends on. Instead of learning forward, learn I'm looking forward to. Instead of learning opinion, learn in my opinion. When you learn complete phrases, your brain stores English in ready-to-use chunks. Then, during conversations, you don't have to build every sentence from the beginning. You simply choose the phrase that fits the situation. Native speakers often speak this way too. They don't create every sentence word by word. They naturally use familiar expressions they've repeated thousands of times. The more useful phrases you learn, the smoother your English becomes. Finally, I want to talk about something many English learners fear: silence. Imagine someone asks you a question in English. Immediately you feel pressure. You think you must answer as quickly as possible. Your heart beats faster, your mind races, and suddenly, you forget everything. But here's something you should remember. Even native English speakers pause while speaking. They think, they choose their words. They sometimes stop for a moment, and that's perfectly normal. Silence is not your enemy. Silence is part of communication. If you need a few seconds to think, take them. A calm answer is much better than rushing and becoming overwhelmed. Fluency is not about speaking as fast as possible. Some of the best speakers in the world speak slowly. They pause. They breathe. They think. And because they do, people understand them more easily. So give yourself permission to slow down. There is no prize for speaking the fastest. The goal is connection, not speed. If you practice these 5 habits every day, listening, repeating, speaking to yourself, learning useful phrases, and staying calm during conversations, you will slowly notice something changing. Your fear becomes smaller. Your confidence becomes stronger. English begins to feel more familiar. Not because you suddenly became smarter, but because you trained your brain in the way language is naturally learned. And perhaps the most beautiful part is this: every single day you practice, even for just a few minutes. You are becoming a little more fluent than you were yesterday. So far, we have talked about why many learners struggle with fluency. We have also explored a simple daily training that can help you improve your English step by step. But there is one more piece that is just as important: your mindset. Because long before someone becomes a fluent English speaker, they first become someone who believes that fluency is possible. Think about it. Two people can study the same lessons, listen to the same podcasts, practice for the same amount of time, yet one continues improving while the other gives up. The difference is often not talent, it is the way they think. Let's talk about the mindset that helps people become confident and fluent English speakers. Words have power, especially the words you repeat to yourself. Many English learners say things like, "My English is terrible. I'm so bad at speaking. I'll never become fluent." At first, these may seem like simple opinions. But if you repeat them every day, your brain begins to believe them. Imagine hearing someone tell you every morning, "You can't do this." After a while, you might stop trying. Now imagine that person is you. The way you speak to yourself affects your confidence more than you realize. Instead of saying, "My English is bad," try saying, "My English is improving every day." Instead of, "I can't speak English," say, "I'm still learning to speak English more confidently." Notice the difference. The first sentence closes the door. The second one leaves the door open. The goal is not to lie to yourself. The goal is to speak with hope instead of defeat. Every fluent speaker was once a beginner. Every confident speaker once struggled to form simple sentences. Your current level is not your final destination. It is simply where your journey begins. One of the fastest ways to lose motivation is by comparing yourself to others. Maybe you watch someone speaking perfect English on YouTube. Maybe you listen to a native speaker. Maybe you hear another learner who seems much more advanced than you. Suddenly you begin thinking, "Why am I not as fluent as they are?" But here's something important to remember. You are seeing their present. You did not see their beginning. You did not see the years they spent learning, the mistakes they made, the moments they felt discouraged. Every learner has a different story. Imagine climbing a mountain. Some people started climbing years before you. Would it make sense to compare yourself to someone who began the journey much earlier? Of course not. The only comparison that truly matters is this. Are you a little better than you were yesterday? Maybe today you understood one more sentence. Maybe you learned 3 new expressions. Maybe you spoke English for 5 minutes longer than last week. That is progress. And progress is worth celebrating. Many learners become so focused on reaching fluency that they forget to enjoy learning. They keep asking, "When will I finally become fluent? How much longer will it take?" But language learning is not a race. It is a journey. Imagine taking a beautiful walk through a forest. If you spend the entire walk looking only at the destination, you may miss the birds singing, the fresh air, the trees, the peaceful moments around you. Learning English is similar. every podcast you understand, every new word you remember, every conversation you have is part of the experience. If you only celebrate the final goal, you may spend years feeling frustrated. Instead, celebrate the journey. Enjoy discovering new expressions. Enjoy hearing yourself improve. Enjoy becoming a little more confident each day. When learning becomes enjoyable, consistency becomes much easier, and consistency creates fluency. Many people think success means speaking perfect English. But that's not true. Success is speaking. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, even if you pause sometimes, even if you make mistakes. Imagine someone who is learning to play the guitar. Would you expect them to perform like a professional after only a few months? Of course not. You would celebrate the fact that they keep practicing. Speaking English deserves the same attitude. Every conversation is a victory. Every sentence you say is another step forward. Maybe today you ordered coffee in English. Maybe you introduced yourself. Maybe you answered a simple question. Those moments matter because confidence is built through experience, not through waiting. Don't wait until you feel perfect before you start speaking. Start speaking and confidence will slowly grow. If there is one secret behind every fluent English speaker, it is this: they didn't stop. Some days they felt motivated. Some days they didn't. Some days they learned quickly. Some days they struggled. But they kept showing up. Imagine watching rain fall on a rock. One drop seems powerless. It changes nothing. But after thousands of drops, the rock begins to change. Daily English practice works the same way. One podcast may not make you fluent. One conversation may not transform your speaking. One lesson may not change your life. But hundreds of small lessons, hundreds of listening sessions, hundreds of conversations will create a person who speaks English with confidence. Never underestimate the power of small, consistent actions. Great results rarely come from one extraordinary effort. They come from ordinary efforts repeated over time. Many learners imagine fluency as one magical moment. They think that one day they will suddenly wake up and speak perfect English. But that isn't how fluency works. Fluency is built gradually. One word becomes one sentence. One sentence becomes one conversation. One conversation becomes confidence. And confidence becomes fluency. Think about building a house. No one places the roof first. Everything begins with one brick, then another, then another. Eventually, those small bricks become something strong and beautiful. Your English is being built the same way. Every sentence you listen to, every phrase you repeat, every mistake you learn from, every conversation you dare to have. These are the bricks, and every single one matters. So never think that today's practice is too small to make a difference. Because today's practice is preparing tomorrow's confidence. One day, you'll listen to an English conversation and realize you understand almost everything. One day, you'll answer questions without translating in your mind. One day, you'll express your thoughts naturally and confidently. And when that day comes, people may think you became fluent overnight, but you'll know the truth. It wasn't overnight, It was built quietly, patiently, one sentence, one practice session, one peaceful day at a time. And that is the real secret to becoming fluent in English. As we come to the end of this episode, I want to remind you of one simple truth. Learning English is not a race. It is a journey that is different for every person. Some people learn quickly, others need more time, and that's perfectly okay. The goal is not to become fluent faster than someone else. The goal is to become more fluent than you were yesterday. If you've been learning English for a long time, but still don't feel confident, please don't be discouraged. Progress is not always easy to see. Sometimes it happens quietly. Like the sunrise. You don't notice the sky changing every second. But little by little, darkness becomes light. Your English is growing in the same way. Every podcast you listen to, every sentence you repeat, every new word you learn, every conversation you dare to have, is changing your English, even if you don't notice it yet. Remember, fluency is not built by one perfect lesson. It is built by showing up again and again, even on the days when you feel tired, even on the days when you make mistakes, even on the days when you think you're not improving. Because those are often the days when real growth is happening. So, be patient with yourself. Don't be afraid to speak slowly. Don't be afraid to pause. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every fluent English speaker has made thousands of mistakes. The difference is that they didn't let those mistakes stop them. Instead, they kept learning, they kept listening, they kept speaking. And little by little, English became a natural part of their lives. I hope that after today's episode, you'll stop asking yourself, when will I become fluent? And start asking a better question. What small step can I take today? Maybe it's listening to one more podcast. Maybe it's repeating 10 sentences aloud. Maybe it's speaking to yourself in English for 5 minutes. Maybe it's learning one useful phrase. No step is too small. Because every small step moves you forward. And before you realize it, those small steps become something extraordinary. One day, you'll speak English with confidence. Not because you were born with special talent, but because you never gave up. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your English learning journey. I hope this episode has helped you feel a little more confident, a little more motivated, and a little more excited about practicing English every day. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Keep believing in yourself. And remember, fluency isn't built through perfection, it's built through practice. One sentence, one conversation, one peaceful day at a time. This is Peaceful English. Take care, stay curious, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, and have a peaceful day.